Our next guest has been the voice of the Hawkeyes for Learfield Sports for the last 13 years, and he's been in broadcasting for over 30 years. Gary Dolphin, great to have you on the show today.
Hey, great to be here, Alex. You're not going to do a monologue to start the show out? I mean, I wanted to be subjected to this great comedic material that I hear about.
We'll spare you from that. You'll have to catch it on TV.
All right. Okay.
First question, just what a magical college football season. What was it like to be able to be in the booth with all those crazy finishes for the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, I think it's a two-part question. The season itself, with all the twists and turns, whether it was the Northern Iowa game, I mean, never had 2 field goals been blocked back-to-back to end a game, to the ending at Michigan State. You know, people forget, everybody remembers the 4th and goal and the touchdown that won the game, but people forget that Rick Stanzi took Iowa 13 plays, 72 yards with no timeouts in a minute 30, whatever it was, left on the clock. That's an amazing drive. You know, the block punt at Penn State and Claiborne picks it up. I mean, literally, the bounces went their way that night and throughout the year. And good football teams make their breaks. You know, Paul Brown always said that. The great legendary Paul Brown said that I'd rather be lucky than good, and good teams make their own breaks. And it was one of those unique years. You know, interestingly enough, and I think Kirk would tell you this, that going into this season, they were always kind of pointing to next year, to next season and the year after, because of all the youth on defense, the inexperience at running back that they had coming into the season, which, as you know, grew more inexperienced with the injuries. So to me, 11-2 was a heck of a bonus for this year. And then to not only get a bid to a BCS Bowl, but to win a BCS Bowl, I think it's just going to do wonders for the program, way beyond recruiting going forward in terms of confidence, in terms of national exposure. The rest of the world now is seeing how good this head coach and his coaching staff are collectively, that they can really put a heck of a game plan together to do what that defense did, Alex, against Georgia Tech. That 307-yard per game rushing average was legit. This team was a heck of a football team that Iowa completely throttled defensively. So it was a unique year. It was a very enjoyable year. And you knew when they got to 6 or 7 wins without a defeat that it was something special, that you could see it coming in the face of all those tough road games. Everybody was wringing their hands at the beginning of the year. In fact, way last summer about, oh my goodness, look at that road schedule. At Penn State, at Iowa State, at Wisconsin, at Michigan State, at Ohio State. And, you know, if Stanzi doesn't go down with that ankle injury, they got a good chance to come back and beat Northwestern and then go into Ohio State undefeated. But it didn't happen. I would take 11-2 every year and not complain one bit. So it was a very unique and enjoyable year.
And next year, expectations pretty high. Well, what's your take on what the Hawkeyes might do in 2010?
They're high, and they should be high coming off last year. And the expectations should be high based on what you see on paper. Just like last year, when I looked at this team on paper, I thought they could win 7, 8, maybe 9 games with Lady Luck on their side, and they won 11. Now you look back at, or you look at this coming season, you have Stanzi back at quarterback. He'll be one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the league. Jewel Hampton is not a lock at tailback. He never was. But the competition is so healthy there now with A-Rob and Brandon Wager and some of the true freshmen that are coming in. They've recruited 2 outstanding running backs, among others, in this current class. So, and Jewel Hampton will be right there. I mean, he had a phenomenal freshman season, as you know. So the running back situation is healthy. Tony Moiaki is going to be a huge vacancy to fill, but Alan Reisner, I expect him to step up. They've recruited some good tight ends. They've had some guys waiting in the wings now for a couple of years. 7 of the starters come back on defense. Both kickers return. Iowa's been very good on special teams the last few years. But you've got to replace that Kirk Ferentz linchpin, which is Bulaga and Dace Richardson and Rafi Eubanks and Moiaki, guys along the offensive line. But we've seen in the past, if there's a staple and a strength of Iowa's program, it's in how fast Reese Morgan and Kirk Ferentz are able to develop offensive linemen. And Riley Reif should be all-world. He should be all Big Ten going forward. Van de Velde's a heck of a player when he wants to be. They've got some young guys coming now. It's their turn to step up and step in. So we'll see. All the receivers come back. I think that might be the strength of the team next year. The wide receivers, Eric Campbell's done a great job in coaching them. So yeah, the pieces are falling into place for a great year, but so much depends on health, execution, attention to detail, mental focus. But that's where this coaching staff comes in. They're terrific.
Let's shift gears to basketball. What do you think of Coach Licklider, the job he's done in Iowa, and what he's going to try to do to rebuild this team, turn it into a power in the future?
Well, I think he's doing a phenomenal job with what he's been given. You know, you couldn't have predicted the 8 or 9 player defections, the players that are leaving for a variety of reasons. I'm not saying it's all negative. Hard to blame Jake Kelly for wanting to go back home, be with his family after the tragic loss of his mother. Tyler Smith was not going to stay once the coaching staffs changed. Tony Freeman opted out because he didn't want to play the system. You know, for a variety of reasons, players left. And as I tell people, usually if you're in your 3rd year of a program, you're a much more veteran team. Todd Licklider's gotten younger, or his team has gotten younger. And then to complete the perfect storm, this might be the best the Big Ten's been top to bottom in 10 years. You look at all the quality players, and then you look at the teams around the league, the Purdue's, the Ohio States, the Wisconsins that have been without Evan Turner, now without Robbie Hummel, they've been without John Lure. Think of how good these teams would be had not those superstars missed all those games. Michigan State was without Raymar Morgan for the better part of 2 or 3 weeks. And yet the Big Ten will get 4 or 5 teams into the tournament who I think can really make a deep run in the field of 64. So Licklider's kind of been faced with not only the competition at an all-time high with great coaches in this league, but his team has gotten younger and inexperienced. Now, they're going to be much better next year for what happened this year. He's got a top 25 recruiting class coming in. There may be a junior college player added to the mix here in the next month or 2 if it's the right fit. No, I think they're on track. I know people don't want to hear, let's be patient. You know, his first year was a wash because he got hired in April. Who are you going to recruit in April to play your system? So I don't even count the first year. So to me, Todd Licklider's been here 2 years, not 3. And so let's just give the guy a time. He's got a good young staff. I think he'll get it done.
Now, you're about to hit the iClub circuit. You get to travel across the whole state, meet all the Iowa fans. You get to go on the road, you know, in the fall and then the winter for basketball to meet all the Iowa fans that travel. What's your take on Hawkeye Nation?
Well, first off, the iClub circuit is the best eating in the land. Let me tell you, we go to every corner of the state and all places in between. 32 iClubs, and they seem to get more rabid with each stop. But whether it's in the Okoboji or Sioux City or Dubuque or Davenport or Burlington or Omaha, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, it is one thing about Hawk fans is they bleed black and gold. There's no fence hangers. There's no walking the stripe down the middle of the road. These guys and gals are rabid Hawks through thick and thin. We've got the #1 wrestling program in the country. We've got great football. Basketball's rebuilding. But it doesn't matter to Hawk fans. It's a social event. They come for the game as well as for the socializing. And that's why it's fun to get out in the spring, because it's a little less pressure. I mean, you're not preparing for a game. The coaches aren't getting ready for a film session. They're able to hang out with the fans, answer their questions, sign some autographs. It's a labor of love. It's a love fest. There's no doubt about it, Alex. There isn't a whole lot of criticism going on at iClub outings, but it'll be fun to get back out on the road and see all the great fans.
Now, before we go, I'm not going to lie to you. My dream job would be to be the voice of the Hawkeyes. What do I need to do to get it when you're done?
You just need to wait a little while longer. I mean, as I tell people, I waited, whatever it was, 25 years for my dream job, which was to be the voice of the Hawkeyes. I think any young guy growing up in Iowa, if there's a job and he has any interest in radio or TV, it would be to be the voice of the Hawkeyes. And I've said from day one, 13 years ago, that it's not my chair. I'm just occupying it. I'm sitting in it now because Jim Zabel, Ron Gonder, Bob Brooks, all those great announcers have moved on in their retirement years. I'm going to retire in a few years, Lord willing, and then somebody else will occupy this chair, and it might be you, it might be Tom, it might be the guys behind the scenes. I say all you do is apply for it, and know the right people and work hard and be good at what you do, and you got a chance. So hang in there. You're doing the right thing.
Hey, Dolph, thanks a lot for coming on
the show
tonight.
All right, Alex. Good to be here.